Take this conversation to the next level. Download your free worksheet with action steps, tips to build better habits, support black businesses, and reflect on the powerful teachings of Brother Nuri Muhammad. Hit that link in the description now.
All right, want to say welcome back to Brother Nuri Muhammad here. I Never Knew TV. What's going on?
It's an honor. It's an honor and privilege to share space and time with you all again, and I'm honored. I'm honored.
And thank you for short notice, and the brother made it happen, so we really appreciate that.
Yes, sir. Anything for you all, brother. I really appreciate and value what you all are doing to put into cyberspace that which will uplift our people. So whatever we can do to help you all, count us in.
The elder once told me, right? Well, elder told me this recently, actually. He said 30 seconds of pleasure can destroy a whole generation. Now, I've heard 30 seconds of pleasure could destroy a life, right? But it made me think, though, right? So I wanted to ask, what do you think about this quote? He said 30 seconds of pleasure can destroy a whole generation. Why do you think we need to put more focus on mate selection in our communities?
Well, I think that what he had to be speaking of, I'm just trying to put some context to help me to grasp the content. But I imagine if we could interview him, he was speaking of that 30 seconds of pleasure. It had to be sexual pleasure, because 30 seconds of pleasure that comes from drinking a soda pop is not going to produce a destroyed generation. But if 30 seconds of pleasure produces a child that broke a relationship, and then from that a cycle can continue where you have generations of children and parents. The unfortunate reality about us, I just read a study the other day where they said it's not just for black people, but the American people, 94% of American people have never read a book since they got out of high school.
I believe it.
Think about that. So if we're not reading, where are we learning from? See, one of the other things that was established in education, they say that the formula for learning is CORE, C-O-R-E as an acronym. It stands for communication, observation, reading, and experimentation. The primary form of learning, if you're not going to read, is communicate with other people, observing other people, and experimenting with what you observed. So if we're learning only from what we see other people do, and our family is the one we see the most, whatever you feed the mind the most is what wins. If I'm Johnson and that Johnson and that Johnson and that Johnson, we always had a lot of women. That's just what we did. We always, see that's being loyal to a negative habit that produced a generational curse. So in that sense, 30 seconds of pleasure can ruin a whole generation, because one person makes a decision that disrupts a home, breaks up a relationship by having weak sexual discipline. The next generation feels like, by observation and communication, that I am Ed Johnson, so I must be loyal to that particular system. And we repeat that kind of bad habit and take pride in it. Take pride in it. The Johnsons, we ladies men. And now next thing you know, you have a cycle of constant, consistent, broken homes that produces that generation. So there is no coincidence that whenever in 1867, 2 years up from slavery, when in the halls of Congress, when they began to discuss whether or not they were going to allow black people to go to colleges and universities, the ruling on the floor was, we'll let them go to colleges and universities, but they can't come to ours. And when they go to theirs, any black college, there's 3 sciences that must never be taught to these slaves: the science of finance, the science of warfare, and the science of mating. See, 2 sides of mating. One is picking a spouse, and the other is parenting the child that comes from that bond. Look at our problems right now. Finance. $1.3 trillion last 2 years out of 226 nation, 8th richest nation in the world. But we don't have anything that we can call our own. You got Spain with 47 million people. They brought in 637 or $728 billion. And we got double that. They got 47 million people with a 208,000 square mile land mass, and they got their own everything. And we can't even come to one community and find anything that we own other than beauty shops, barber shops, and barbecue restaurants. Something wrong. We got dollars, but we need some sense. So finance, we didn't learn. Then you have the science of warfare. We kill only each other. We never have raised up against the enemy that torments and kills us. We only kill each other. And mating. We have the highest divorce rate of any group of people on earth. Third world nations living in poverty and in mud huts with no running water or electricity have a better, more successful marriage ratio than black people in America. 75% divorce rate among us. And then there was a study called the McKinley-Irving study by McKinley-Irving Law. Look at this. They went back to 1867 and found that 9 out of 10 eligible black adults were married back then. That's 90% of every adult black person was married with a near 100% success ratio. That means all of them said to death do us part and made their word bond. Today, we got a 40% marriage ratio. And out of that 40%, which is 4 out of 10, 75% divorce rate means that only 1 out of the 4 couples we see that did get married are going to get married. So out of 10 eligible candidates for marriage, only 1 of them is going to make it. So that's a sign, because the minister said it like this: where there are no strong marriages, you cannot have a strong family. Where there are no strong families, you cannot have strong communities. And where there's no strong community, you can't have a strong nation. Marriage is the cornerstone of all nation building. So mating, question, is it important? It is of great significance. I said, and my brother Steve Harvey, he quoted it when they asked him about how valuable it was for him to have the wife he has. And he mentioned, he said, there's a dude named Nuri Muhammad that said coldest thing, and he paraphrased it. He did good with his memory to say it. But what I said is that the most important decision you'll ever make in your life after choosing belief in God is choosing the right mate to spend the rest of your life with. For the mate you choose will either inspire you to grow into your greatness, or they'll confine you to complacency. They'll either be your other half, or they'll make you half of yourself. The minister said this: a good relationship brings out the best in you and makes you more youthful, while a bad relationship will bring out the worst in you and cause you to age prematurely. So choose wisely. After choosing belief in God, next most important decision you ever gonna make in your life is choosing the right mate to spend the rest of your life with. That will be the cornerstone, the foundation of nation building. We don't have no strong marriages, we'll never be a strong people.
Many of us have developed systems, consciously or unconsciously, that fuel patterns of self-sabotage, right? Why do you think people get stressed out when things are actually going well and end up messing up their own progress?
Well, that's we have a language we use. It's a popular term. We talk about breaking generational curses. But the truth is, there is no spell that has been cast from underneath the ground from a devil or from outer space from a monster that produces a generational curse. Generational curses are really generational bad habits. And if you notice that we like to say what runs in the family, everything we say that comes after runs in the family is always normally a negative. Diabetes runs in my family. High blood pressure runs in cancer runs in my family. And the real truth is that if we were to look past our physical birth certificate and put more stock in our spiritual birth certificate, and that pivotal passage in the scripture in the book of Psalms 82:6 says, ye are all God's children of the Most High God. So no, what runs in the family is not curse, bad habits, diabetes, and what runs in the family is the characteristics of God. You're the child of the Most High God. So what produces the habits or the curses is really those habits. The psychologists and psychiatrists say that the anatomy of a habit, the makeup of a habit, is a cue, a craving, a response, and then a reward. So you said unconscious. Why? Because it's a cue. A cue could be an image or a sound And there's certain sounds, there's certain images that might hit our mind that generate restimulation from a past experience, and we began to engage in that habit of self-sabotage. Bad habits are easy to develop, but they're hard to live with. Good habits are hard to develop, but they're easy to live with. So the self-sabotage, at the end of the day, it's rooted somewhat in our self-hatred. We start getting success and we don't think we deserve it. I hate the term, Brother Linton, that they use, and it happens a lot in counseling. You'll see, in particular, a sister. She's in a relationship with a brother and being mishandled, mistreated emotionally, verbally, or even sometimes physically. And in her mind, she thinks that's all she deserves. And she'll say, listen to this, I'm damaged goods. And the truth is, technically, we all damaged goods. The Quran says like this, that if Allah God was to judge us for our sins, there'd be no soul left alive on earth. So all of us have done something, or enough of something, to justify, nullification of our existence on the planet. But when you think in the terms of I'm damaged goods, or you think, as they call that, battered wife syndrome, you think that you're only worthy of being depressed, at being in poverty, at being down. When stuff start happening opposite of that, it's something you don't deserve. You don't say it out loud. It's the unconscious thing. And unfortunately, we got Stockholm syndrome as a people. We have battered wife syndrome as a nation. And just like that female in that bad relationship doesn't think she's worthy of getting success, progress, good things, that she deserves to be abused, she deserves to be down. So it has been with us as a people, with our relationship with our oppressor. We're operating from battered wife syndrome, and we really think that we're unworthy of it. So when good starts happening, we feel like, I got to get out of this. I'm not supposed to have this. So it's unconscious, but that's happening. We can break generational curses by breaking generational bad habits.
And for the brothers and sisters listening, right? We speak about self-worth all the time. We spoke about self-worth with you. Can you give them some realistic things they can do to improve the self-worth? Because I hear too much improvement is done on the exterior, and we're really not focusing on getting ourselves together. And what you said, the mind frame. I feel a lot of people are hypnotizing themselves, right? Like, I know we've been hypnotized by the system, but we do a self-hypnosis in a negative light on a daily basis,
Yeah, but we've been programmed to do it. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said this: whoever gives you the diameter of your thinking prescribes the circumference of your activity. So whatever people are doing is a result of who, not just what, but who gave them the diameter of their thinking. And our teaching, whether it was religious, whether it's educational or social teaching, has come from our oppressor. So they have prescribed for us the diameter of our thinking, which has prescribed our circumference of activity, which makes us do what we do and act the way that we act. Self-worth, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that the greatest knowledge that one could ever get is the knowledge of God and the knowledge of self. And he said they are akin to one another, meaning that they are connected and almost exactly one and the same. So if that's the case, then it does good to learn your DNA, your family history. That's low-level surface knowledge of self. It does even better to learn about great Black accomplishments in the past, because what happens is, just like we have a physical peripheral vision, we have a spiritual peripheral vision. So physical peripheral vision, I'm looking at you, but I can see the camera, I can see the light, I can see this brother over here, I can see the flag over there. I'm looking at you though. Spiritually though, whenever you have your mind on a subject, a goal, but you have a knowledge of great people that look like you that accomplished things in the past, you start activating in your mind, wait a minute, if they could do it back then, I can do it right now. There's a study that those of us that are in this viewing audience can check out. I hope it's still up. There was a study done in 2012 called the Obama effect. There was a group of high school students in Harlem that took a test before he became president, 80% of them failed the test. They said, I think the students are smart. I just think they're lacking confidence or self-worth. So they said, let's just try this. Let's give them the test now after Obama became president. Gave the same students the test with no additional tutoring, no homework, no coaching. The same 80% that failed passed the second time with flying colors. It shows that they didn't lack the knowledge, they lacked the confidence. So I said, man, if learning about one black man in our immediate history can give us that kind of confidence or self-worth that allows us to throw ourselves at something and be successful, what would happen if we got into the history of Mansa Musa and Marcus Garvey and Imhotep and the true history of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad? What happens when we learn that kind of wisdom? Then that spiritual peripheral vision is activated. That confidence, that self-worth becomes established, and we began to be successful. Even the father of what they consider Western education, a man named Robert Collier, listen to what he said when they were establishing public schools in America. He told his white school establishment personnel, he said, remember that education is only 1/4 information. The other 3/4 is encouragement. And nothing encourages a child like seeing someone that looks like them who accomplished great feats in the past.
Sports have been both a blessing and a curse in our community. Some say it's just been a curse. That's a different conversation, right? What's a more productive way we can use sports to uplift our young brothers instead of leaving so many of them broken and disillusioned?
Well, on one side of the equation, white people and black people both put their children in sports, but for two different reasons. Black people, we put our children in sports to become a professional at it. White people put their children in sports to extract the principles from it. So when we don't become a professional at it, we operate with a broken spirit of the defeated mind. But because they went in to extract the principles from it, they just take the traits that they learned, the discipline, the hard work, the teamwork, the sacrifice, the ability to categorize personal life problems to still perform a task. They take all that and they put that in their insurance business, their law firm, their dental practice, and they become successful at something else. But us, because we got our eyes set on the league or the NFL, and that's it. I got everything invested in that. So if I don't become that, I'm not anybody. There's 500,000 black boys playing high school basketball right now. Only 17,000 of them actually play college basketball. Out of that 17,000 that play college basketball, only 47 of them is going to make it to the NBA. Out of the 47 that make it to the NBA, only 7 of them are going to have a starting position. Those with a starting positions, their position, they're going to have their job for 3 to 7 years. Even if you made it, let's just say you did. But that's bad math. That's 500,000 black boys competing for 7 full-time jobs that's going to last 3 to 7 years. Even if you get it, you get in the league 23, you're out at 30, what you going to do for the rest of your life? There is no such thing as God creating a hooper. God does not create wide receivers, running backs, quarterbacks. He does not create linebackers. God creates inventors. He creates engineers. He creates nation builders.
Many brothers are old in age, right? But still youthful in mind, throwing temper tantrums that derail their lives. What advice would you give on conflict resolution and on transmuting anger into something more positive and productive?
There's a saying that with age comes wisdom. Not necessarily true. Sometimes age comes all by itself. Showed up, but no wisdom came with it. So, the scripture in the Bible that deals with parenting, we say it like this: train up a child in the way they should go, that when they grow old, they will not depart from you. But the original translation of the word old in the Hebrew means mature. And when they mature, they will not depart from you. So there's a such thing as being a full-grown child. Think about that for a second. You have reached a certain amount of calendar years, but you don't have the knowledge to justify that age of existence. That's why it's called manhood and womanhood. Think about it. What is a hood? It's a piece of fabric attached to the back of a shirt or jacket that covers the head. In order for you to have manhood or womanhood, you have to have knowledge that makes you a man, knowledge that makes you a woman. So anytime that you see an underdeveloped mind inside of a fully developed body, then you're dealing with a male that hasn't become a man, no matter how old he's reached in years. So in that sense, it's a sign of immaturity. When you can't control your emotions, that's a sign that you're going to have a lack of control in a whole lot of other areas. I was just thinking about when you said that, did you say anger, right? Anger is just one letter short of danger. You put a D in front of anger, it becomes danger. Anger produces danger. So whenever you are upset, you make rash decisions that more than likely you're going to regret. Listen to this formula that the most Honorable Elijah Muhammad gave us. He said, think 5 times before you speak, and you may be right. Still a possibility that you're going to be wrong. We were with the minister one day, and he asked us the question. He said, do you know what it means to think 5 times before you speak? And for him to ask it, you probably know you don't know the answer. So I was like, no, sir, we didn't. He said, to think 5 times means this. You take what you're going to say and look at it. That's once. And when you look at it and see how can I take something away from or add something to make it better. Then you take that you've improved and look at it again and see what you can add to or take away from to make it better. You do that 5 times and then say it. And you may be right. Well, if that is the code for just communication, what should be the code of conduct for activity? We have to think. We have to start using facts, not feelings. We have to start using inference, deduction, logic, and reasoning above emotions. And if we did that, then we would recognize that by going over and over and over again, extracting the emotions from it, now I can see it for what it is, and I can make a sane and sober decision. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said that emotions can intoxicate the human brain the same way that drugs and alcohol do. That's deep. I remember, I don't know if it's still on the market, but there used to be a drink called E&J.
Evil Jesus.
That's what they call Evil Jesus. E&J is in a bottle, a spirit that can intoxicate you and mess up your thinking process. But there's another E&J that can mess up your thought process, envy and jealousy. So negative emotions have the ability to intoxicate you. What does intoxication mean? To be out of my original frame of thinking. Bad decisions are made. So many of our brothers are in jail doing 30 years from a 30-second decision. If they had said, before I do, I'm going to think 5 times before I speak or do, I guarantee you they never would have made that decision. So the question would be, in conflict resolution, we have to have more knowledge in our mind, because the natural reflex of the human being is to reach up into his mind for knowledge and wisdom and understanding, and then put it in the form of words, talk to somebody, they talk it out. But whenever people are underdeveloped and they don't have knowledge, when the natural reflex is to reach up, and they reach up and there's nothing there, the only thing they feel left to do to reach down is to reach down for a weapon to solve the conflict. So we don't talk it out, we shoot it out. And the stuff we shooting out of is very petty, because we don't know how to think and speak to talk it out. We have to set up conflict resolution centers in our community. And I'm not talking about a building called Conflict Resolution center that is funded by a government grant. Every building that we have, every function and post that somebody holds, there has to be a skill set of conflict resolution in it. And we have to be willing to be objective mediators to stop problems from happening among our people. It'll be good if all of the brothers that was at odds with each other could reach up for knowledge, wisdom, and understanding and talk it out instead of shooting it out. But we know that's not the case right now. But while we're in the process of educating them now, those that are educated have to be willing to keep their, as they say, head on a swivel. What am I doing? I'm listening for what's happening before something jump off. So you saying what you call this, talking about doing something? Oh, hey, before that happened, let me stop it. We strive to do it, but there was a situation, a couple of them, but we had a situation where a brother had got shot 5 times. Another brother got shot 1 time. Both of them in the hospital together. One of them had on a mask trying to rob the other one, so they didn't know for sure who did it. Guess what the police did? They went over and said, excuse me, the one that got shot 5 times and didn't die. Did you shoot back? Yeah. Where did you shoot? It's probably, I think I hit him somewhere in the side. He said, that's interesting. There's a person named such and such 3 rooms over that has a gunshot wound in the exact same spot that you said you shot somebody. That's something. This is what the police is doing. What are they doing? Setting it up for him to do something to him or call somebody to do something to him. So by the grace of Allah, I learned it. I said, no, I said, brother, before you do anything, you do understand that they told you so you could do it so they can get rid of him and you for the rest of your life. One might be dead and you gonna be in jail for the rest of your life. So let's think about not doing it. So he said he wouldn't do it. We end up getting them together maybe a year or so later. No one got killed, and it wasn't perfect, but took the guns from everybody and said, let's do it old school, and put them in the backyard and hand-to-hand combat. They fought. After they fought, they sat down on the stoop, talked it out, moved on with life. So we have to interject. Those that say they have knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, those that can reach up, have to keep our head on a swivel so that we can take those that don't have it in their head to reach up, that only know how to reach down, and stop their hand from reaching down or pulling it back up to shoot their brother and sister. And let's work it out. Let's talk it out before we ever shoot it out. And that will help us be really saviors of our people. That's what we're born to be. If you have it, share it. If you can do it, do it. And we all can.
Why is it so important that we prioritize shopping with and supporting our brothers and sisters before giving our dollars elsewhere?
That should be our code and axiom. I try to echo it everywhere we go to our people, that our code and our axiom that governs our economic distribution should be shop with your brother before you shop with another. That's what every other nation of people does by nature. We just don't do it because we're not in accord with our nature. It is a scientific, biological fact, whether it's an insect, a bird, a bee, a fowl, an animal. The first law of nature is self-preservation. You're supposed to look out for you and yours and your kith and kin before you look out for anybody else. What's going on though? See, we brought in $1.3 trillion last year, the year before that, $1.1 trillion, 3 or 4 years in a row before. I mean, that's a lot of money. But in the Jewish community, look at this, and the Asian community, their dollar remains in their community 28 to 30 days. In the Latino community, they keep their dollar for 17 days. Think about that. But in the black community, we keep our dollar for 3 to 6 hours. There's in the Asian and Jewish community, they let their dollar move around 7 to 10 times before it leaves. Ours moves 1/10 of one time. As soon as we get it, it's gone. So because of that, we're not able to make a little go a long way, or in this case, 1.3 trillion, make even a lot go a little way, because as soon as we touch it, it goes to someone other than ourselves. And that causes our communities to be what they are. We have, in every black community, you have a Pakistani or an Indian-owned convenience store attached to the gas station. You got an Arab-owned, you buy, we fry, fish, steak, frog leg, something spot. You have a Vietnamese-owned nail tech spot. You have a Korean-owned beauty supply house. You have a Jewish or Caucasian-owned payday loan spot. Question, does any of them live where they get money? So you telling me they come and suck the economic blood from our community, take the wealth and go out there with white people or themselves and live somewhere else and make that community better, but get all of our money and do nothing to make ours better? You never even have seen none of the beauty supply houses, none of these foreign-owned entities support even the Pop Warner Football League or the basketball team or the Little League Baseball. You never even seen their names on the jerseys before. So they do nothing for us. So we live in a colony right now, brother, and not a community. See, a colony is whenever you have a environment where the people that own the property and the businesses don't live in the environment.
And extract everything out of it.
But a community is when the people that live in the environment own the property and the business and reinvest in that area because they are benefiting from it and they want to increase the value of it. We're letting them get all of our stuff, all of our wealth, and they go in and add value to somewhere else. So we can't become a neighborhood again without keeping a dollar among ourselves. We got it. We got the money. We just have to be wise in distributing it. And we should be willing to pay a little bit more and drive a little bit farther to support our brothers and our sisters.
And I think this is the thing we really have to push with the younger generation in regards to the importance of purchasing products and services from your brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times we talk about self-hate, right? And I see it comes up in different places, but it really comes up in how people purchase things. Because I've seen time and time again that a person will not purchase something, like intentionally not purchase something from a black person.
I was looking at a clip the other day from our brothers over at Black Athletics. And I honestly, I got teary-eyed just watching him. He was trying to defend himself from us attacking him for the prices of his stuff. The same Negro that's going to get mad at him for selling you a sweatsuit for $180 don't say a damn thing to a Miri for selling you a jacket for $2,000 damn dollars. Or you don't say nothing to Louis Vuitton. You don't say nothing to Versace. You don't say nothing to Prada or any of these Eries, Enis, Ujis, or Achis. We don't say nothing to them. Subconsciously, they said it like this in the 70s. We think that sugar from the white man's store is sweeter and ice from the white man's store is colder. Subconsciously, we think that having something white people made makes us more valuable. Well, the only reason you need something on the outside to make you feel like you are something is if you lack the stuff on the inside. You have the artificial exterior because you don't have the authentic interior. But when you got a knowledge of self, a knowledge of God, a knowledge of the time and what must be done, a knowledge of your enemy, then you take pride in that, not the stuff that you put on. No, it ain't the outfit, it's the infit. And that's what hurts us. And on top of that, see, you have to be willing to think for the whole instead of yourself in order for you to operate in group economics. But question.
Say that again, because they ain't
you have to think.
Fire.
You have
Say
to
that
think.
one again.
You have to be to think for the whole instead of for yourself. You know, The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said like this. He said, no individual person can rise above the condition of his people. We will all be one or nothing. There ain't no option. We either unite or perish. That's what he put on the front of the final call. Unite or perish. So if we don't look out for each other, no one else will, and we won't be able to exist. But you watch any movie where there's an outside enemy that wants to destabilize a group, all they do is go among them and find out who can I find that will put their self above the whole. That's it. Okay, I'll give you this. That's how Africa got corrupted by the European. That's how nations have been destabilized. That's how tribes and organizations have been broken. They always pull you out and say, look, tell you what, if you tell on all of them, you tell on them, you get less time. Or I'll give you this personally. I just need you to sell out the whole country. So here you go, $1 million for yourself, and you sell out your country. And now you have become colonized. So what happens with us in our community if we put the self above the whole is that we have literally been bought out, compromised. We've turned into literally traitors of our people. And shopping and spending our money outside of self, when self has it, is an act of treason. And treason in any civilized nation is normally punishable by death. And I'm not saying we're supposed to do that, but that's the spirit we should have. I'm going to shop with my brother before I shop with another. Why? Because I'm a brother and I'm going to open up a business too one day. And I want him to come to me. And I want him to tell other people to come to me. If we did that, then we would be able to keep our dollar in our community much longer, which means we could take what we have and live off of it and exchange it one at another. We just did an example in a session today where we were showing what cooperative economics looks like and what it means for a dollar to circulate 7 or 10 times. So you have one person that has a grocery store, another person has a school, the other person had a dry cleaner, and someone else had an ice cream shop. If I'm a grocery store owner, my children have to go to school, and so do all my employees' children. So some of the money that I make as the grocery store or pay the employees, they got to give to tuition to the school. But the school, they have clothes, they have a dress code, they have to wear clothes, they got to get them clean. So some of the money that he got from the grocery store at the school for tuition, he got to give to the dry cleaners to be able to justify the wardrobe that they have to wear to school. Now, everybody at the dry cleaners, they're going to want some sweet treat sometimes, so they got to go to the ice cream spot to be able to get some ice cream every now and then. But guess what? This is a ice cream shop that makes their own ice cream, so they have to buy some milk from the grocery store. They have to buy see what I'm saying? So now guess what? My dollar went to him, and back to me. If you marked it, you can see it come back. Not all of it, but so basically what's happening is we're taking currency, energy. I'm using it, the energy right now, for my baby's education. They're using it right now to get their clothes clean. They're using it right now to get some ice cream. And then they're going to give me back some of my energy to be able to get the ingredients to justify the ice cream parlor. That's one cycle. 7 or 10 times mean we keep doing that before we ever send our dollar outside to get any milk, products, dry cleaning, education, or grocery from somebody else. That's cooperative economics. That's unity in true reality and true expression. It's not hard to do. We just have to be conscious of it. I say, we have smartphones. Why not put a reminder in your phone? Since we're not operating in our nature, we're not conscious of spending and shopping with our brother before we shop with another. Let's put it in there. Reminder. Go to this restaurant and tell somebody else to go to the restaurant. Reminder. Don't go to the big box, white man owned spot that don't have no care for black people. You seen what happened with DEI. Target was the target, but hell, all of them can be the target, to be honest. All of them think the same way, and they all treat us the same way. No, we do too much. We waste too much energy trying to repair the system when God wants us to replace it. Stop complaining about miseducation. Open our own schools. Stop complaining about what the Vietnamese are doing when they're following us around, or the Koreans are doing when they're following us around in our stores, treating us like criminals. Open up your own beauty supply house. Do you know black people spend right now $46 billion a year on hair care products?
I could believe that.
46 billion? I mean, that's unbelievable. But look at this though. Only 303 million on books. 47 million people, 300 million on books. That's 6,080 some cents a piece per year on reading material. So we spend billions to dress up the outside and just crumbs to dress up the inside. Priorities are out of whack. So that cooperative economics, that group economics, putting your people above yourself.
And there's another part that needs to be intertwined in that lesson. We spoke earlier about self-worth or habits, generational habits. The habit of jealousy. I've been pushing this fire. I've been pushing it. You have to learn to be happy for the success of your brother.
Well, that was one of our codes of ethics that we had. Whenever Brother Malcolm X was sitting with Alex Haley, they were in a conversation, and Malcolm told him, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said to us that most of us were Muslims before we came to America and were made slaves. Alex Haley said, I don't believe that. So he started, that's where roots came from. Roots came from him wanting to go and see if what Brother Malcolm had told him from the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad was a fact. So he went, found out his family was from the Gambia, went to Kente tribe, found out that the Kente tribe were Muslims. Then he started looking at some of his co-workers, friends that he knew, and started doing their roots. Found out that, they were Muslims too. Mathematically, he concluded that 6 out of 9 of the slaves were Muslims before they were brought to America. Well, in Islam, there's a code of ethics that says from Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, that a Muslim is not a Muslim until they want for their brother or their sister what they want from themselves. See, you're not a righteous person until you love for your brother what you love for yourself. See, if I love for you what I love for me, I celebrate you having it like I had it. I celebrate you becoming it like I became it. Because it's a team. It's a team. I was watching a show. There was a joke. I can't remember what it was. It might have been, and I'm going to get you sucked or something. But somebody said on there, I'm rooting for everybody black. And that's how we used to be. Whenever Joe Louis came on the radio to fight, black people on the porch, they rooting. I don't care who they're opponent. I'm rooting for everybody black. When we was doing something, we stopped being like that. We stopped celebrating the success of our brothers and sisters. And now we have developed what they call the crabs in the barrel mentality. Here you got 100 crabs in the barrel. All of them are getting ready to be killed and cooked. But 1 or 2 crabs start climbing on the back of the other crab, trying to get out the barrel to go for freedom. But instead of the crab saying, you know what? Wait a minute. Let's push them out. And it's 100 of us. If we can just push out 2 or 3 at a time, at a certain point, we can get 97 of them out. And maybe only 3 of us will be dead, but the other 97 will live. Or maybe if we push them out, they'll tip the whole barrel and we all go for freedom. But that's not how the crabs in the barrel operate. Whenever that 2 or 3 crabs start climbing on the backs of the others on their way out to freedom, they reach up and say, who that crab think he is? And they pull him back down. So we have a saying, misery loves company. No, we should be so happy to see black excellence in every form, because all it's telling us, if they can do it, so can I. And that's truly, we're not really brothers if we can't have joy for our brother like it's ourselves. Base word of brother is other. My brother is my other self. So if my other self got it, I'm celebrating like I have it. If my other self become it, I'm celebrating like I became it. And that kind of healthy mentality will destroy all envy, all jealousy. It will destroy all of the backbiting, the slack talking, the slander. It'll make us have healthy and harmonious relationships with one another because we will be happy for each other instead of hurting, trying to hurt each other. We have to start praying for each other instead of preying on each other. P-R-A-Y, pray, instead of P-R-E-Y, praying on each other. We really have to get to a position where we really feel that one success is our success. And if we get there, we'll start seeing a lot of the paradigm shift.
Do you believe a man can truly mature and grow into his highest self without being in a relationship with a good woman?
Wow, a good question. So there's a verse in the Holy Quran that says, it's in the 53rd chapter. It says that the male and the female were created in pairs. In the Bible, it says it's similar, but it mentions when Adam was formed, man. The words were, it was not good for a man to be alone. Why not? Because if he's going to become good or great, he's going to need a partner or help me. Anything that we see in nature that's created in pairs is created to operate at its maximum potential only when it has what it needs. Hands created in pairs, legs, feet created in pairs, our ears are created, our eyes created in pairs. What happens whenever someone is missing a hand or missing a leg, missing an eye? We say they're handicapped. They are disabled. Disabled means that they don't have access to their full ability. So if the legs, the arms, the hand, the feet, the ears, eyes, all these are created in pairs, and if you lose one of them or don't have one of them, you consider handicapped or disabled. What is a black man without a black woman? He becomes handicapped, disabled. What is a black woman without her man? She's handicapped. They can manifest power, but to manifest their full power, they have to have each other because we were created in pairs. In creation, there are certain insects and animals that are created to live in colonies or prides. I don't care how great a lion is in the strength and power, they're created to live in a pride. You let them be out there by themselves, they'll die. They are built to live together in a pride. Ants are built to live in a colony. They can't survive by themselves. They're built to live in a colony. That's the nature. Well, if we are created by God in pairs, we're born to be with each other. So that without that happening, we will never be the fully developed and able to express our full power. There's a lot of traits that women are looking for in men that only marriage can bring about in them. And there's a lot of traits that men might be looking for women that the institution of marriage produces. We're hoping that he's going to be all of that, but marriage actually makes him all of that. I always wondered why the sisters get so hurt whenever a man cheats on her. And they never really go after the man, they go after the woman. I'm like, what? Why come you out? How are you outside her job with Vaseline on your eyes, pulling your earrings out, can't wait to whoop this girl that got your man? What are you doing it for? But it dawned on me. That woman is saying that I'm the one that civilized this man. I'm the one that coached him up. I'm the one that helped him become what you like. And you are now reaping the reward from my investment. So I got a problem with you because you're benefiting from something that I made. Marriage brings about the higher expression of man and woman because we were created in pairs. Not having a mate puts us in a position where we are without one of our arms or legs. We're disabled or we're handicapped. So can you be a good man, a good woman? Yes. But can we reach that maximum expression of being a perfect reflection of God without one? The answer becomes no, because we created in pairs.
What is the greatest lesson you learned from your wife?
I would say she taught me how to love, because And I'm in a unique position because I've been married now for 31 years. I've been married since I was 19 years old. We were together when we were 14 years old. So we were blessed to develop what they have found to be, for the lack of a better word, the longevity ingredient of relationships. They went in 2012 around the world and interviewed couples that were married 65 plus years successfully to find out what was the secret sauce. In every nationality, they found out friendship was the secret ingredient. That's the longevity. So we developed friendship. But because we both were from the hood, but I was from a less structured family than she was. They actually, it's funny now, but I laughed when I went over their house and they ate dinner together. I'm at a table, actually organized.
It just wasn't the norm for you.
Like, what? I couldn't wait to get back to my partners. I said, you ain't gonna believe this. They was in there eating dinner together like the Cosbys. I'm saying like TV. So because of that, she was in an environment that she had love. So she was able to teach me, that how to love. And so I learned it. I learned that's the greatest quality that I learned. And she introduced me to the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad as a teenager. And because of that, I came in the nation a few months before her. She came in right after that. We got married a year and a half later, and the rest is history. But she is the one that brought me to that which gave me life, and she showed me by a demonstration of activity what love looked like. And my greatest lesson is those two things, life and love.
Do you think we need a new system in regards to selecting our mate where elders are involved and there's more input instead of you just going out there and say, hey, I got a vibe for the young lady?
Well, that is why in civilized societies, the father is always involved whenever a man desires his daughter. Civilized society. I don't know if you remember in The Godfather, whenever Michael, he had already whacked the man, right?
Yeah.
He whacked him, got that 38 out the back of that toilet and shot them, and they had to go to Sicily and hide it. While he was over there, he found a wife. But it wasn't none of this go grab her, kiss her, lay down, and we decided to get married 17 years later.
You had to hang out with the family, right?
Come on now.
Yeah.
What did he do? He knocked on the door. Talked to the father, right? Civilized society. Father answered the door. Yes, you would like to not marry. You would like to talk to my daughter. And he brought him in, talked to him, interviewed him, let him go. You seen them not in some private dark room. They were out walking. Them two,
behind them. Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But when they pan the camera, you look back, there's about 17 uncles and cousins back there walking, 100 feet behind them. What's that saying? See, why did we involve the elders in mate selection in civilized society? They learned that from our ancient African ways. That's what made the Italians mock the original. Their culture has a lot of the Islamic practices in it. Look at the way they greet each other, kissing each other. Look at the organization and the special investment in family and business. That's the Islamic format. So why was father so important? Why were the elders important? Because whenever you get involved in male-female interaction, it raises emotions. The higher the emotions, the lower the logic.
There's a little balance in there.
So you become subjective, no longer objective. So all you operating off of is feelings, but feelings are not facts. We have something in our program or teaching that the minister gave us, study guide 18. It says it's called rising above emotions into the thinking of God. You cannot let emotions control you. You have to get control of your emotions. But when a male and female like each other, the emotions are so high, the logic is low. They've even been able to look at it on a scale of 1 to 10 and found that however high emotions are, logic is that low on the spectrum.
And it gets lower too when you get a little good loving too.
What's that?
I said it gets lower too when you get the good loving.
That's what I'm trying
That's
to
when
say.
the logic,
So now you're
yeah.
really clouded because you now have engaged in intimacy that has hyper activated your emotions. Emotions are at 8, logic and reasoning is at a 2. Emotions is at a 7, your logic and reasoning is at a 3. If your emotions is all the way at a 9, your reason is at a 1. But mama and daddy, the elders, they don't have no emotions attached to it. So they're able to give an accurate, objective appraisal on this one you're looking at. They don't ask questions based upon cuteness or sweet words. They want to know, what's your plans for the future? What do you want to be in life? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? See? What's your relationship like with your mother? See, these kind of questions keep the mate selection process scientific and objective instead of emotional and subject. So it becomes an important, and we got to get back to that system, so we can involve non-emotional, objective parties that have life experience that can shine a light on something and be able to see things you can't see because you're clouded by emotions. That's what emotions do. They cloud you. The minister said that emotions, not only do they cloud your judgment, they can blind you. So what do they say about love? Love is blind. No, it's whenever that lust, those feelings is so high that you can't see the person for what they are. You start ignoring red flags when your feelings is good.
And I've been telling the brothers too, they need to hold off on certain behaviors because they see the red flags, but they enjoy the pleasure and they're in denial about them. But you already saw the blueprint.
Yeah. Well, a man should be looking for a wife and a mother. A woman should be looking for a husband and a father. We look
Say that
too
again
much.
for him. Say that again for
Say it
him,
again.
please. Say it
I
again,
said a
please.
man should be looking for a wife and a mother, and a woman should be looking for a husband and a father, not a play partner, not a temporary relationship, not friends with benefits. You should be interacting with the opposite sex with planning to build a life with this person. And I say to the sisters, I always tell them, look, if he won't get down on one knee for you, don't you open up 2 knees for him? Because he's not worthy if he's not willing to be committed to you. And I promise that if women would be disciplined and be chaste, I promise you men would increase the marriage. It wouldn't be no 4 out of 10, it'd be a 9 out of 10 if all physical interaction was off limits until we said I do. And that's the kind of math that will really build our community and save our people. The family life has always been the power base of us as a people. That's why in 1798, when Napoleon was hired by the English to go and destroy all of the images of black excellence, he went into the temples, the mystery schools, and destroyed all the black images of the inventors, the messengers, the prophets, all in the temples. Then he went to the Pyramid Giza, and then at the base of it was the Sphinx, body of a lion, head of a black man. They try to tell us in school that the tail or that the nose and mouth got eroded by sandstorms and natural erosion, but nothing happened to the claws, the tail, the mane. Just the nose and the lips is the only thing that got destroyed. No, Napoleon in 1798 trained his cannons to blow off the nose and the Sphinx because the nose on the Sphinx was a broad nose and the lips were thick lips, which were the features of black people. And they did not want, by way of image association, for our ancestors to put this body of a lion, head of a black man on it. And look, written underneath it was the Arabic words Abu el-Hawl, which means father of everything. They didn't want us to know, wait a minute, lion, king of the jungle. My ancestors put my head on the lion. Maybe they're trying to tell me I'm the king of this planet. You can't make a king of a planet a slave. You can't make the father of everything somebody with poor self-worth and low self-esteem. But they needed that to be able to make a slave. But he also went into the same Pyramid Giza. And he found everywhere you see right now in the Pyramid Giza. It's the last living wonder of the world, too. It's a master. 451 feet up into the air and 451 feet deep. Covers 13 and a half acres of land with 1 million blocks of gold, marble, and granite weighing 3.5 tons apiece. Each stone stack mathematically precise, not even deviating a square inch north to south, east to west, up in there, down into the earth. And we built that without John Deere or Caterpillar. No bulldozer or crane. The power of our mind. It's a great expression. But in the pyramid, you cannot go in Giza and find the images of the gods, the male gods, and not see next to them where somebody's been scraping. What were you scraping? Napoleon and the other white people you had working with you? You knew that Osiris was always with his queen Isis. You knew that Alafun was always with Ilida. You knew that Osar was always with his queen Aset. So they wanted to scrape the image away. So they left the men there, but scraped away their women. Why? Because they didn't want us to know the message. What is the message? Not behind, but beside every strong black man has always been a strong black woman. They want us to think that we can be individually great, that we don't need family life, we don't need marriage. But our ancestors were trying to tell us, if you're going to be great, you can't be a woman without your man, and you can't be a man without your woman. We're going to need each other in order to bring the best out of each other to become a nation that God will be pleased with. So that hopefully that answers that question, but that puts a little context on how important it was to us that we painted the image and engraved it in stone, and how important it was to them to make sure they destroyed the image. Think about this. On the plantation, there was only 3 things that was illegal. Reading, right? Praying, and marriage. Don't want you to connect to God. Don't want you to get knowledge, because knowledge is the force that allows you to overcome barriers and obstacles in your life. You cannot enslave someone that knows what you know. Right. And marriage, because that's going to bring families together. That's going to make love. That's going to make harmony. It's going to pass on legacy. And that's not what you're here for. You're here to pick cotton, tobacco, and indigo. You're here to be my slave. You're here to be breeded, to produce offspring, to be a slave for me, not a son for you or a daughter for you. So now you even see us every wedding ceremony, no matter how great and grand it is in the black community, we jump in brooms. That's a slave custom. That's not in our original African culture. That's from slavery. That's plantation life. Why? Because it was illegal to get married, but it was not illegal to sweep master's porch. So we had the broom. We love somebody, master not looking. We just, family, everybody come around. Jump the broom, celebrate, and go back to work. Sneaking marriage.
All right, Brother Muhammad. We always appreciate you being here. I appreciate you always getting the wisdom. I always appreciate the great work that you do. We give thanks.
All praises due to Allah. Thank you, sir. It's an honor and a privilege. You already know, anytime you call, I'm going to strive my best to be there. Thank you. Thank you for all y'all do.
Respect.
Yes, sir.